want to knock over a casino. 3 casinos?
You gotta be nuts.
Exactly.
150 million.
Smash and grab job, huh? Slightly more complicated than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
check the batteries?
It'll be nice working with proper villains again.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
Rated PG-13 starts this Friday.
Hey, Nom.
Hi, Jeremy.
So we're back again.
Again.
No, so I really don't need to do a crazy intro of this because we're actually doing what I like to call a revisit.
Is it a revisit?
A revisit in a new way, right? Right? We're revisiting a movie that has been redone in a different way, right? What'd you say?
I suppose we're
revisiting a story. It's the same
we're
story
going
again.
to the remake, right?
Yeah.
The
I was
remake.
I was trying to make it. How did I do there? Did that sound good?
No, not at all.
Okay. So, Ocean 11, we watch from our. Actually, that was our very first episode. We watched Ocean 11, the 1961.
Yeah, the 1960 version of Ocean's 11, which may have been our 20th episode. I'm just kidding. It's our first episode.
And, they can go listen to it to see what our opinions on it. And now we're revisiting your personal favorite. This is one of your personal favorites since knowing you. A lot of reference has come from this movie. This is, I think you said at the time, it's the slickest movie that was probably ever made at that time.
I mean, talking about conversation wise, yeah. I think the way they had the dialogue and stuff like that was very slick.
I don't know if you put it as one of your top 3 favorite heist kind of movies or whatever, but it's up there as one of your favorite movies of all time, though.
Yeah, it's one of my top 3 movies.
Okay.
I would say top 3 movies that I can watch over and just over and over again. And it's hard to I balance between this one and a couple of other ones up there. In that range, but this one definitely is the top 3.
So why do you want to revisit now? Why for this one?
Well, biggest thing is actually just to go see what the difference is between the 1960 version with the Rat Pack and then see how it works here. I mean, I guess you can take that the formula of having a bunch of just good actors or cool people in a movie and then just let it run is taken from the Ocean's movie. So, the original Rat Pack, and then, of course, here. I think this was a good way of them taking a bunch of, heavy hitters, I would say, in Hollywood, putting them into a movie and just letting them have fun with it. And that's really kind of how it felt like in this entire movie. I dare say that it's the formula that bides with what you see, like the Avengers and stuff like that, with superheroes that are able to go in, that they're able to shine on their own and then balance the shine between each and every single one of the actors, and not have one be overbearingly overbearingly take over the scene compared to another, or share just enough of each person's personality that you got enough you want to see more, but it's not too much.
Did you see this in theaters?
Yes, I did watch this movie in theaters.
Did you see it trailer while you're watching another movie and you said, I'm gonna go see this? What drew you into that?
I mean, I think I saw the trailer. I definitely saw the trailer first before I went to watch this movie. Now, what drew me into this movie is because Brad Pitt's one of my favorite actors.
Okay.
Brad Pitt by far is one of my favorite actors. But the fact that you have such a star-studded cast, and on the flip side, I think that this movie couldn't be done without a star-studded cast, or it wouldn't be the same.
Right.
But with the star-studded cast, you're talking about, George Clooney at the top of his game, Brad Pitt. You're talking about Julia Roberts, Matt Damon. You go in there and you look at the side characters, like your Bernie Macs, and then Casey Affleck, who was really new and just kind of coming up.
Was Don Cheadle in this one? Or
Don Cheadle.
Yeah, John Cheadle, yeah.
Don Cheadle was in this one, in this as well. Okay. So you go up and down the list. Andy Garcia. Is the villain, which is great because he plays such a good controlled villain. I think you have so much talent in the movie that you're thinking to yourself, there's no way this could be a bad movie.
Right.
So that was the reason that drew me. That was the reason that drew me. The fact that, Brad Pitt was in the movie drew me, but the way he interacted with George Clooney, Matt Damon, and whatnot, and just kind of small tidbits that they have in the trailer, definitely got me wanting to go watch it.
So let's talk about the trailer. So the trailer did a good job to me personally, of it got straight to the point. Like in the very beginning of it, the first thing they talked about was, how many casinos do you want to rob? 3. How are we going to do this?
That we're robbing a casino.
Yeah.
Like, you really want to rob a casino? And he's like, I want to rob 3. You're
Yeah,
just
like straight to the point. This is how we're going to do it. This is the cast. And what's funny about this trailer, that everybody was still questioning it as the trailer was going. Like, so we're going to do this? Yeah. Oh, okay. People were still questioning it, but then you saw the action and stuff. It was really, they did a really good job of bringing everybody to shine who's going to be part of this, but also keeping their cards close to their chest, so they're not trying to reveal too much about it. And then the fact that they did a good job showing you who was going to be the combos together, who was not going to be the combos. So Brad Pitt and George Clooney were going to be that duo right off the bat. You saw that. You saw the rest of the cast having their own bundle here. I just like the way that they slick cut everything in the editing. So because if the editing's slick, then the movie feels slick to you. Yeah. And so I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, as far as the trailer is concerned, I really think that they were able to sell you the fact that, hey, we're going to do something impossible.
Yes.
And they kept selling you the point that robbing 3 casinos is going to be impossible. Like, no matter what we do, we can just, you expect us just to walk out with bags of money? I don't see that happening. Or he doesn't say, I don't see that happening. He's like, you expect us to walk out with bags of money? And George Clooney is like, yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, and then just, you got to see little snips of the dialogue on how clean the dialogue is between each of the characters. And Julia Roberts was, I don't think I mentioned Julia Roberts, but Julia Roberts, you got to see her just kind of little bits and pieces with her and with George Clooney and talking to as well. So the actors alone sold me on the idea of the movie, but the trailer in itself got me intrigued to see exactly how are they going to try to do this. Well, I want to know why and how they're going to.
It's very few trailers where they can fool you if a movie is bad. Like, say, if this movie was bad, that trailer still to this day would still be a little carrot hanging across. Like that trailer editing was awesome, but too bad the movie was bad. But luckily, we're visiting this movie again, and last time I remember, I highly enjoyed this. Anybody I introduced this movie to, they were hooked to it, because it's just, they did such a good job trying to keep you guessing.
Yeah,
the trailer did a good job, guessing. I want to know if they're going to get out of this. Get out of this clean, because they're probably they might accomplish this, they might not, and especially comparing it to the other trailer. Yeah,
and I was going to ask you too, is how you felt compared to the other trailer.
The other trailer to me was stalling too long to get to the point of what they were doing compared to this one. This trailer, I think they just needed to tell you straight up, here's the plan, this is going to do. Are you like George Clooney said at the end? Are you in or you out? That's it's basically, here we're trying to sell this product to you. Yeah. And the old one didn't really do that. It was more of trying to they were trying to sell you more of the world they're in more than what the job is.
I kind of get where you're going with that. And I'm gonna go a little bit different. See if you kind of understand where I'm going with. I feel that the current one, the 2001 version, you knew who the actors were. They didn't need to sell you the fact that the actors were who they were. They wanted to sell you on the story that it's an impossible task that they're about to try to do, right? So they're trying to sell you the story. It's impossible. It's cool. It's impossible. Are they going to be able to do it? And then you took the 1960 trailer, and I think it sold you more on who was in it.
Okay.
Hey, guess what? We got the Rat Pack.
Okay.
It's it's stylish, it's cool because we are the Rat Pack. And that's how I felt the difference between the two is, because they tried to say that it's about a robbery, but you didn't really care about that. You really cared about the people. And this one, you already know who the people are. they don't really talk about George Clooney, Brad Pitt. They let you know who they are, but they don't really try to sell you on those particular people. They try to sell you on the ideas. Like, hey man, we're trying to rob 3 casinos. We're just gonna get in, get out, and try to figure it out. Okay. So get interested in the story. That's how it goes. So that's how I felt like between the two of them.
Well, I'm excited to revisit this movie again, and then can't wait to see what the I don't think there's a huge difference, but to talk about like maybe there's stuff there that I wish they pulled from the other, and then hopefully just kind of mix and match.
Combine
mix and match.
Combine and compare to the both of them. The beautiful thing about this is that every time I watch this movie, and I've watched this movie probably like 50 times, is that there's always something new. And so I look forward to rewatching it.
It's really well with age. It does really well with age. So
I think so too. So we'll get to talking about the movie right after our break.
Hey, this is Jeremy Evans, the man behind the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows. But did you know I do my own show? Yeah, it's the In-Game Boss podcast, a show where I challenge not only you, but myself on fun subjects in the gaming culture with fun guests. So come by and be challenged. And welcome back to the show. I am Jeremy, along with Nam.
And this is When Jeremy Met Nam, and we watch Insert Movie Podcast. Something.
So I'm going to insert Ocean 11 in this. I'm going to ask you, how many times have you watched this movie? I watched this about 5 or 6 times, and I'm not complaining. I like it every single time, but I know that this is personally one of your favorite movies, probably in your top 10 of all time. I don't know if it's higher than that, but how many times would you say you watched this movie?
Oh, probably about 1 billion times, it feels like. No, seriously, probably about like, I would say probably in the 30s. I would say 30s. I definitely one of those movies I watch like twice a year for whatever reason or another.
It's almost up there, would you say, in your personal library, like some of the most fun, quotable lines?
Dude, it's one of the most quotable movies. Easily one of the most quotable movies, but it's just one of the more entertaining movies. You know, the cool thing about this, I say this, is like the runtime is... do you know what the runtime is?
I thought it was an hour and a half, but if it's 2 hours, it felt like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I was gonna say the runtime is an hour 57.
Yeah, okay.
It's an hour 57.
Like an hour and a half.
Like I tell you what, and the runtime is an hour 57, and you just can't tell. It goes so smooth. Like I love that about it. But that was one of the things that kind of hit me as soon as I watched the movie again. It was just that it was so well paced,
right?
Like from start to finish. Like it had meaning every single time you were just watching it all the way through. Mm-hmm. Like I will tell you, literally though, in my opinion, if you were to watch probably the first 30 minutes of the movie, not even the first 30 minutes, probably the first like 20, 15 minutes of the movie, it sums it up what the movie is going to be.
Yes.
Like to me, I think the poker game, where WB, Fox, Teen Bop, people united,
the OC, Dawson's Creek, that era,
like ER,
yeah, that era,
all those people,
along with that 70s show guy, Topher Grace.
Like in that alone, if you just watch that scene alone, that pretty much covers the entire tone of the movie. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like there was just so many inside jokes, like just how Brad Pitt controlled the table, how he controlled the different characters, and just how the characters interact. It was just hysterical.
I did notice going through this movie, you can tell that they had a balance between George Clooney and Brad Pitt's character, played as Rusty, and of course Frank Ocean. And you could tell there was one point where Brad Pitt was like taking over this movie, and then you could tell they had a dialogue. Oh yeah, like that poker part. That poker scene right there was all Brad Pitt, and he was hilarious to me.
Well, yeah, I think it was the intro to Brad Pitt.
It was, but then later on down the line, where he was the one going to get some of these people, he's the one that introducing Frank to, like, let's get this Asian guy right here, let's get him, like, it felt like that it was becoming his movie, and then they kind of pull him back, and George Clooney started coming in when it was time to, like, hey, here's the plan, what we're going to do, and all this kind of stuff. So, like, they were going back and forth of, like, who's taking the lead, and even the part where, George Clooney was getting cut out.
Yeah.
So, because he's like, nope, you're going to mess his plan up. So, Rusty had to take over. So, I just felt like that when they wrote that script, they had to balance those two characters out, because they were both leaders and they were both ways. When
I think what it is that when you go into that and kind of go back a little bit more, yeah, you definitely get the intro to Rusty and the whole card game bit, right? Which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene alone was wonderful. George Clooney was the idea man, but also the big picture guy, right? And then Rusty was kind of like the side guy who pinned down more of the details, which, just the conversations that they had just within each other. One of my favorite conversations, of course, is the reasoning why, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Rusty was just like, I need a reason. You have to tell me. Tell me why we're doing it. Just don't tell me it's money.
Yeah,
it can't be money. And he just goes in the whole spill of, you play so long, the house always wins.
right.
If you play so long, sometimes you might bet big and beat the house, but generally the house wins unless you go da-da-da.
Yeah.
Cold decking teen heartthrobs.
Right.
And then of course Brad Pitt was like
You've been working on that.
You've been working on that, right?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
But kind of going back to the characters, is like I think they did do a great job of balance between the two. I don't know if necessarily Brad Pitt kind of took the lead. I get where you're going with that though, because but I felt like it was all part of the plan. Right?
I know, I get that, but I'm guessing like if someone blindly watched this movie and not knowing what's going on, like I think rewatching it, you can kind of tell, because Brad Pitt was really George Clooney to me was the big picture person, but Brad Pitt was more of getting to know each person, like when he was meeting up with Matt Damon, Matt Damon's character, when he had to do a mission, he was talking like, okay, so what are you going to do here? What are you going to do here?
Well, he was coaching up Matt Damon, but the person that recruited him was George Clooney.
Yeah, but no, he did. He was, he got included with Saul. I felt like he was a little bit one-on-one with more people, and George Clooney did his share too. I'm not saying that.
No, I was going to say George Clooney recruited him, right?
Yeah. But, I just felt like, when George Clooney was not on the scene, Brad Pitt was taking the spot. When Brad Pitt leaves the scene, George Clooney was taking the spot. So I just felt like that they were sharing this screen together to make sure, because let me tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie. If you took George Clooney out of the scene, I think Brad Pitt can carry this movie. And maybe that's just...
I don't know if it works the same the way... I don't see it working the same way. I see where you're going with it.
Okay, go on.
I see where you're going with it. I'll tell you one thing, though. We were talking about runtime, 157. I'll tell you the Ocean's 1960 version, because I think that's really most of our conversation is really going to be about, was between the two differences. The 1960s version was 2 hours and 10 minutes. That was the runtime. You felt every bit of 2 hours and 10 minutes in that runtime.
Oh, yes, you did.
I challenge anyone who prefers the 1960s version over the current version, the 2001 version, to I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them about why they feel the other one. Because I feel like it's Ocean's 5 versus Ocean's 11.
Right.
I feel that's the biggest difference between the two, is that Ocean's 5 is the Rat Pack, the 1960 version, and then Ocean's 11 is just they took everything about the 1960s version, and then they just expound upon it. They in the 1960s versions, you didn't really know about the characters. The only ones you really cared about were the 5 people. Not every one of them had individualistic personalities, right? Which you go into the 2001's version, like you said, the conversation between George Clooney or Danny Ocean and Russ was just like, hey, you're gonna need at least 9 other people to do a bunch of different cons. You need Ella Fitzgerald, you need the Leon Spinks, you need the
right.
whatever. So
especially the bar scene, he's like, do you think that's enough? Should we get one more person? Should we get 11?
It's beautiful,
I'm
right?
gonna go get 11. Yeah, go get one more.
You think we need one more? We need one more. You think we need more? The Brad Pitt didn't even have to say anything. It's just the way that those two were conversated together. And the beautiful thing about when I was talking about the pacing is that you got to meet each individual character and each individual uniqueness of each character, right? That's the beautiful thing about it. Because I feel that Frank, which is played by Bernie Mac, Ruben, Virgil and Turk, which are the
brothers,
the Malo twins and the Mormon twins. And then next, of course, you got Livingston, you got Don Cheadle's character Vasher. Yeah. You got all those characters, and you got the chance to meet each and every single one of them.
Because they got their own little intro while they were being introduced, they were being recruited.
And that's what I mean. Though, is like they got their own little introduction, like that's the beautiful thing about it, that compared to the 1960 version. Like, I cared about each one of these characters more than I ever cared about like the other 5 or the other 6 characters.
You know what
Ocean's
really
11.
got me between the two?
The 1960 version.
Like,
Rat Pack version.
Like, on the 2011 Ocean 11.
2001.
Sorry, 2001's edition. You know, the cast was introduced better. The filming better. But I'll tell you what, the thing that got me over this movie over the other one is the editing. The editing in the 2001 was so good and slick. If the 1961 had that, I would think it'd be a better movie. Because that editing, just that editing, the slick, the cuts, the moving all these characters around, everybody getting a piece of the pie. But that editing was that gold of that movie. Was just, you know, move one scene, another scene comes in. Hey, this guy's coming next. Switch that scene up. Everything was just slick and coming together like a puzzle, and it was so good. And I wish the 16 at the time had some unique style of their own to make it edit.
Yeah, because it was really like we talked about in the trailers. Like, I really felt that they were just concentrating on the Rat Pack. So these are the people, right? Like, when you watch the 1960 version, I felt like they spent more time on things you didn't care about what was going on in the story.
Right.
But in the 2001 version, you got the characters. You enjoyed the characters, but they spent just the right amount of time on the setup, on the actual execution of like the entire the robbery or the heist. And I loved it because I joke about it, and I joke about it now, but I really truly believe that Ocean's 11, Steven Soderbergh's the way he handled everybody was a good way of how they handle like the Avengers nowadays, or the Avenger movies, the Marvel DCU, because each character in the Marvel DCU gets their moment, gets their scene, and you question that. When you watch movies back in 2000, back in the 90s, it's like, well, if you have a star-studded cast, will everyone get their moments? Will their egos be too deflated?
Right.
To be able to do a movie like this. So I think for me, it was just, there's so much concentration on everything, like you mentioned, and I feel the script is so well written.
Yeah, the script. Let's talk about that for a second, because the writer, instead of him, and you can notice the big difference is, in the old ones, they were going to rob 6 casinos.
Yeah.
Give or take. It was a lot more than the 2001 was. They were going to do more. Here they want to do 3. But here's the kicker for the listeners and Nom. The kicker was, instead of trying to rob all of them, they robbed a place that it all comes together.
Yeah.
Right? So, the owner of the casino run by
Benedict.
Yeah, Benedict. He runs these 3 places.
Purpose.
Yeah, he runs these three casinos, but all the money comes to one pot.
Yeah.
Compared to the old one was they had to go to each individual one to do it, and they have to do it all at the same time, which it got a little bit colluded, and it would have been better if it was just one main spot. So now all the characters have a good share of we're going to get to that spot instead of splitting everybody up so much.
No, and I agree, but I'll even go one step further. There was a purpose for 2001's version. There was a purpose. It was the reason why Danny Ocean wanted to take the casinos was because he wanted to get his wife back.
Yes.
He wanted to get Tess back, played by Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful how just the chemistry between George Clooney and Julia Roberts, just the short, I think 4, it felt like 4 different scenes that those two had together.
And the funny part is about it is in the old one.
Something that simple.
Yeah. Old one being longer, how did they not have enough time to even at least give Frank Sinatra's character Ocean to at least have a chance to talk to the group and say, or to his right-hand man, this is why I want to do it. You had time, but you guys were too wasting on trying to get these characters together, which did not have enough personality to get together.
Yeah.
2 hours. I should be learning about everybody's history.
Yeah.
But yet the 2001 did it less than you.
Well, the cool thing about 2001, and that I'll take.
For listeners, we're not bashing on the old one. We're just trying to compare of what we wish the old one could have done.
Yeah, you're right. Jeremy is not bashing on the old one. I am bashing the old one.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you now.
Right.
I do not understand how the Rat Pack version would be in any way, shape better than the current version of it. You take that too. Is that it's the 1960 version? It's his old troupe of parachuters, of his old troupe of parachuters versus a criminal cynic, or like a criminal kind of like group, which is actually cool because John Wick did this, and of course John Wick came way after this movie. But what made it cool to me, it was just like there's always like, for me, I've always believed there was always like criminals kind of like really good thieves really knew each other. And they knew each other, so they were just like, oh,
it's like a secret. It's like a kind
like
of
a secret society, right?
Yeah,
it's like when they do in John Wick, whenever they go to the hotel, it's like, oh, it's an assassin's hotel,
right?
That everyone just kind of knows each other casually. It's like, hey, what's up, Bob?
Right.
It's just like, hey, how's the killing going? No, it's going well.
Yeah.
Just something, but it's something really cool. It's just that that all these criminals kind of know each other, and that they're convinced to get together because they're gonna pull off a big gigantic heist. Like a cool. It's something simple as just like motivation,
right?
And just being able to sell the idea. That makes more sense to me than a bunch of parachuters
that
get together and we're not sure why they want to steal money.
So let me ask you this: compared to the movies, what the payoff was, as you know, the 1960s edition, the payoff didn't work out. Compared to this one, did pay off. If the Ocean 1961 had a better payoff, would it get a little bit better? Would it get a better closure for you? Like
if it had a happy ending.
Happy ending, or I guess you could call it a happy ending. I guess.
Well, I guess you would be happy if the thieves got away with the money.
Yeah, if it worked out, I don't care if like later on down the line if they did a sequel, something bad happened. But come off. Come off winning from this.
There's too much. There's too much the 1960s version is missing. They relied way too much on the Rat Pack.
Okay.
They relied way too much. Like that when I made the joke about the Ocean's 5 thing, is the fact that they only cared about the 5. Like they really didn't care so much about the other like 6.
Okay.
Like there was a guy that came up with the plan, but he did nothing. He came up. No, he didn't even come up with the plan. It's like, so who was so and so? I was like, well. He came up with the idea that we should rob like 4 casinos. It's like, all right, so he came up with the idea. Is he coming up with the plan? No, Danny's coming up with the plan. All right, so what's he going to do? He's just going to sit back there.
Okay, so with that, here's another one, and we don't have too much time because we got to get to our other stuff. But do you think part of it too was the fact that they had? Do you think they could have had more stuff to do? Lack of not having the technology and stuff that the 2001 had. Like, do you think they would have more stuff to do? Could you think of more of them stuff to do in the old one?
Well, I mean, I think if you were rewriting the script, you could probably make it work.
Okay.
I mean, I think that you can make it work because, I mean, you can think of. So the only thing there's a lot of technology that has to be done that was done in the 2001's version, right? Especially the pinch that Don
setting
Cheadle
up bombs,
Vashers,
all that stuff.
Yeah, the pinch, and of course being able to set up an entire vault that looks just like the vault that they have stolen. The next break-in and the next having the Ella Fitzgerald part.
Yeah.
They do the loop. The loop of them or the video of them showing that they're getting robbed, but they weren't really getting robbed.
Right.
There's those, right? Of course, getting the vans and stuff like that. I think you would have to rewrite the script in a sense, but I feel that it's very plausible. Like, we watched Doctor Strangelove, and I feel there is very plausible ways of making it work.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be so intricate, but it could be very simple as giving people a purpose of doing whatever they're doing. I think biggest thing is purpose. Like, I don't understand why, they just want to get rich. I guess that's why they're grabbing like 11 paratrooper or 11 people in an infantry, but I just don't see a purpose in the 1960s version. Before we kind of get onto our categories too, what are some of the favorite scenes that you had? Just some things that you picked out. I know you picked out one from. You were talking about how you like the scene wherever Danny was just talking to Russ and Russ was just laying there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he did it again with Topher Grace when he was asking like, you're I'm gonna have to give you a check. You know what? Cash. We'll do cash. And like Brad Pitt said nothing. Yeah. And he's like, and he just nodded like, okay.
Some of my favorite scenes, I have to say, there was one scene that was kind of awkward for me, and that was the balloon scene where the brothers were arguing on the balloon scene. That was kind of awkward to me.
I love that scene. I don't know.
I don't know why. I thought that felt like they were improvising that part. But anyways, that's another story. That's another conversation.
You're spitting in my face.
Okay, so some of my favorite scenes, I do like Don Cheadle's scene where he's trying to explain the whole story and no one's getting what he's talking about because of his accent. It's going to be like...
It's not just the accents. I feel like it was the Rat Pack conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was the one conversation where they had a very, very Rat Packish moment. It was just like, well, if we want to do the job in Reno, we are in Barney.
Yeah.
And everyone just looks at him like, Barney Rubble. Trouble.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, God,
Yeah.
he said trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're in trouble. So what do we need to do?
I like that particular scene. I do like the part where Brad Pitt is trying to talk to Matt Damon's character. Like, they say, okay, so what are you going to do? No, don't hold your case like that. Don't look up. They don't think you know. Look down. They think you're lying. You know? It's like right there you show like Brad Pitt knows his stuff.
It's like,
or Russ knows his stuff.
Yeah, it's just, don't talk too long. Just be long enough that you don't have to be memorable, but be short enough that you don't.
Yeah.
You don't stand out.
And he makes you think like.
Don't be too
true.
funny. Don't be not too funny.
Yeah, that's true though. Like some of the stuff he says, like okay, yeah.
Just everything is like, by all means, whatever you do not.
Yeah.
He walks away.
Right. Those are a few. There's more, but I'm pretty sure you'll hit some more ones.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments, especially when Bernie Mac shines.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can talk about the scene where he and Matt Damon are in the room, but I think one of my randomly favorite scenes is the part where let's talk about the van, the car dealership. Yeah. It's like, they told me to come see you.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there shaking the dude. He just has an awkward conversation about lotion. He's like, your hands are really soft. Do you moisturize?
Right.
And you could just tell he's just playing the black, big, intimidating card out there and just trying to sell trying to get him his way of conning the particular person. Of course, the card scene. At the very, very beginning, because I think, like I said, that sets up the entire movie with Topher Grace and with all of them. I love it, especially when they get out. Everybody was just like, "Oh my God, it's Topher Grace!" Da 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 da, and then you just see Brad Pitt and George Clooney just kind of sneak off to the side, like that would really ever happen in like real life. But I like those inside jokes in itself. I think one of the more meaningful ones is Tess and Danny. When they first kind of just have that conversation, the beauty of them having a conversation, how much chemistry was just between the two, and how you can just see how slick Danny is, and how he can get someone like a Tess to fall in love with him. Because
they only shared like 3 scenes together.
Yeah, they didn't share very much, but one of my favorite quotes is just I only lied about being a thief. And I only do one of them now, and he's just like, and she's like, you don't steal. He's just like, no, I don't lie. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty good too. The Malloy twins, I think they just have their moments too. It's interesting because in order to get everybody into this movie, they had to take pay cuts, right?
Yes,
they all had to take pay cuts because obviously, there's just a bunch of people in the star-studded cast. George Clooney, a funny story. George Clooney, Aaron Brockovich, Julia Roberts, Steven Spielberg. That's how those two kind of knew each other. But in order for them, for them, part of the reason why they got Julia Roberts into it was just that during that time, this was like peak Julia Roberts, and she was getting about 20 a movie, and she's getting about 20 a movie. So George Clooney sends the script over, and he's just like, I heard you were getting 20 a picture. So he sends a script over with the $20 bill in it. And, she kind of smiled and laughed. And then she was just like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was kind of funny in that. But there's so many memorable screens, like at the very end as well. I think that's the scene where everybody just goes in front of the fountain, watches the fountain, and Claire de Lune plays in the background.
As George Clooney was getting taken away because
Yeah.
he broke his parole.
Yeah, because he broke his parole. But I think that scene's very classic. Now, the last question before we get to categories I'll ask real quick is that you've been to Vegas, I've been to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Does it betray Vegas to you?
Yeah, I felt that's one thing too. I could watch this movie a million times, but now this one was a very special watch because I've been there.
Yeah.
So just seeing all this stuff is like,
Does
I
it really-
know how that looks, and I know
Yeah.
how that. I think it's different when you go there and then watch it.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Is like, does the same the
Yes.
movie makes you want to go to Vegas, right?
Yes.
But when you get to Vegas, does it actually feel like what the movie portrays it?
I mean, yeah. I
think so? You
I
think
think
so?
so. Yeah.
I don't know if I feel the same way because I feel that Vegas is more of a kind of like chill, hang out had a pool, like go party, whatever, like lifestyle. And then you get to see all the signs and advertisements. And
I
stuff
was
like
looking at it as an environment, not what the movie's
Well,
portraying.
yeah.
I was looking at more of like environment, like seeing these awesome casinos. When I got in there, I'm like, this feels like that movie did a good job to make you feel like what it is like to be in a casino.
You want to go there, right?
Yeah, what it makes you feel like going to see, not visit Las
Yeah.
Vegas, but just to be in the casinos of Las
Yeah.
Vegas, and that's what I got from it.
Yeah, because I feel like The Hangover gives you a better view of what Vegas is like.
I'll give you that.
But I feel that is a very cool area that you want to go into Ocean's 11. And that's the one thing I do think that 1960 version shares with the 2001 version is that the feel of Vegas is like a very cool, like I want to go check it out,
Right.
like area versus a party swingers / hangover / whatever type.
So
I feel
personally for me, Ocean 11 really did a good job portraying me to know what the casino world is like going into the casinos, and then Hangover would be more of the tour, how I feel about the tour of Las Vegas.
What would you try to do? In Vegas versus
so
whatever?
like when I went there, the casinos, the Mirage, the Bellagio, all that felt awesome to me. When I was like, when I watched that movie, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I know what it looks like. I know how I feel. That's awesome seeing the stuff they go through and all that. So
but now we check out like the Aria, the Planet Hollywoods, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not very much classic, not very much the classic version of it, but just kind of the party version. So we drew 3 categories, as always for all our movies. Our 3 categories. I'll give you one of the categories. Is can the Avengers come in and save the day?
So are we asking like can they or are we trying to fit them in there?
Just your opinion on it.
Can they? No, they can't.
Why?
Because this is the way they set it up is where Avengers really wouldn't come to the call like that. And if we're talking about one member, not even one member, like I don't. If you want to put Hawkeye in there, I guess, but like I don't. This is not that busy of a problem for them to come deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually, I was gonna go with you and agree with you too, right? Because I feel the same way, right? The Avengers can't really come to this one, and even if they did, who would they side with, right? Or how would they even know? Because the only big thing is that Vegas turns off for like 30, not even 30 seconds, like a minute.
Yeah,
and that's not going to even be a blimp or a beep in the Avengers. Avengers ordeal, so they wouldn't be there.
No.
I don't see it working. Unfortunately, it's the question we drew. It's the category we drew, right?
Right.
I don't know. I really don't know of a way that we can put them in there because I don't think they would really go after Benedict because they don't know much about Benedict.
Honestly, no. The only way that will work if one of the characters decided to make a trip there and by accident run into this situation.
Yeah.
That's the only way. That's the only way it would probably work. And even if that, like, I don't even see them even really getting all costume up. I think they can handle it out a costume on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. It'd be funny that Incredible Hulk would be there, though.
That would be funny.
Because you just look at it and he just loses at something. He gets angry, turns big and green, starts smashing stuff.
Or he just joins the oceans, and then like when it hits the fan, he just goes crazy.
That's the way it happens, right? So
yeah.
instead of doing the Leon Spinks, which is the boxing interference, they're just like, all right, so here's the plan. We're just gonna get you angry. You're gonna distract them. We're gonna steal the money.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
There you go. Solved.
Yep. All right. The next category is, what kind of fast food would you order to go, to watch this movie? What would you sit and eat? Fast food wise.
You go first this time. What are you feeling?
I think I would choose Chinese.
Okay.
And not because I'm Asian, but It's because I feel that
know.
there's they've always known.
I know.
I feel like because you can order a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of everything.
You're really pushing
with
this
the
11
food.
things, aren't you?
No, you don't necessarily have to push 11 things, but you get a little bit of everything, and I think that's what the movie's like, right? So you get a little bit of you get a little bit of comedy. You get a little bit of just like slickness, conversations, some thriller, some suspense. So I think some Chinese food. So I'd probably get like lo mein and get some soup, egg drop soup or something, egg roll, stuff like that. What would you?
Nachos.
Nachos?
Yeah, nachos would be good because you're so focused. I think I'm so focused on that movie that chips could just go with that flow what you're doing. So yeah. I think. And just to me, there's a lot of awesome stuff you could put on those nachos that just goes with that flow with that movie, jalapenos and stuff like that. Okay. I don't know. I like that.
Or you can be like Rusty and just eat everything, drink everything.
Yeah.
In the scene, just shrimp cocktail, which I love shrimp cocktail.
I feel like when it comes to slick movies, a lot of finger foods are easier to enjoy with that than actually a dine-in. Like slower movies or movies that are going to be like epic or stuff, I think that's more of a steak to me, but this is quick.
Yeah,
this is quick. I'm gonna say nachos.
All right.
So
our last topic is actually a really interesting one. Is to recast the movie. So
what a draw!
Yeah, what a draw! Like if you were, because originally when I wrote this question, I was like, create a dream team to do this movie. And the truth of the matter is the dream team is there. Like I don't see there is a dream team that could be added. However, there are some casting. Some people that possibly could have been casted for this movie before, and I think we'll just throw in people. We'll throw ideas out there. It's just actors and actresses, just to see whether we truly think they would be able to
so
fit
we're
in this
gonna
movie.
how are we doing this once again for the listeners? 4 from us.
I don't know.
Or are we just throwing it out?
We're just throwing
out.
I think we're just gonna throw it out and see where we go from this. So I'm going to talk about some people who were actually casted for the movie. They were talked about before. So Mark Wahlberg as
Russ?
No, Mark Wahlberg as Matt Damon's character.
Okay.
So how do you feel?
Not. I think of more of a Russ. What do you say, the actor? And let me guess who I think he was casting as.
Oh, either way, right?
Yeah. No, I see him as a Russ.
Yeah.
He's definitely a second hand.
Yeah, I don't see
Not
him
a
in the
third
movie. I don't see him in the movie at all. Like if.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we were asking what would they? Okay, I know where you're coming from. Okay.
No. We will talk about it. I'm just talking about.
No, not at all. I agree. He's not in it. But if they had to cast him, he's a Russ to me.
Oh, I think he would be a Scott Mans. He would be one of the Malloy twins.
What?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see where he can be that little angry guy. Just where the dude that screams Scott Man. Scott Man's
I don't know,
character.
man. He has such a sharp tongue. I just feel like that he'd be.
He has a very sharp, vulgar tongue.
I think it could be cut back for to do the Russ. I mean, Brad Pitt does too.
When you do not vulgar.
Give him the right role.
Anyway, you look at The Departed. He was very vulgar.
Okay, can you give me more that he's vulgar in?
Let me see. So
we don't have that much time, but
anyway, I was gonna say there's like the Will Ferrell, the one where he did Will Ferrell with Will Ferrell too as well.
We'll move on.
The Malloy twins, right? Mm-hmm. So the Malloy twins were actually supposed to be the Owen brothers.
I'll give you that. I agree with that.
Do you think that?
I think actors that are related to each other fits perfect every time to me. I don't know why.
Do you think that how much of it changes the movie? Do you think?
Oh, it'll change a lot.
Right, because how do you feel that it changes? Like
because you never see it's Luke and Owen, right? We're doing Luke and Owen.
Yeah, so it's Luke and Owen taking over for Casey Affleck and Scott Mans.
I was making sure those. Yeah, it would change a lot because they're two different characters. Like at least the Casey and the other actor, they kind of blended in very well. But these two are really kind of different. It'd be interesting how they clash a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's very there's the extremely aggressive and then the extremely
Owen is
not so aggressive.
He's a laid back actor.
Yeah, that's why
I think it'd be interesting.
Because I think Casey Affleck would be Luke. Right?
Yes.
Easily, and I think Scott Mann would be Owen, but I don't see Owen acting like Scott Mann. Like I feel like it would be very.
I think they would have to change it for him. He wouldn't be.
It'd be very smart.
Yeah, he wouldn't be that particular character. But yeah, they have to change his character up a little bit.
Yeah, it would be very smart, very tongue in cheek, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't see it being like very kind of like the aggressive, like the non-aggressive, where they're just like, it's like, oh, you're a balloon man, da 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 da, like just like I don't see that kind of argument.
Wow, that's a lot of balloons.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. I like balloons. Wow.
Can you get him out of the way? You know, because I'm trying to get to somewhere. Anyways,
then next, Ray Fiennes, the one who shall not be named. What do you think his character? What do you think his character would have been?
Remember what he looks like.
Oh, he's the guy from the Dragon Tattoo movie.
Okay.
The Red Dragon. Sorry.
Okay.
Red Dragon.
I'm gonna go with him as he's supposed to be the bomber.
Huh?
He would be the bomber.
It's funny. Somebody actually said that same thing, that he would be Vasher.
Yeah.
Vasher's character, but he was actually talked about as being Andy Garcia's character.
I like him as the bomber.
You think he's more of a Vasher guy?
Yeah.
But those were kind of the guys that were that was going through. Just throwing out names. Johnny Depp. You think so? Yes, no. You just whatever you want.
No.
I don't think Johnny Depp fits any of the characters in the mold.
No.
Like I think he's too.
Is that one of your random picks?
Yeah, just one of my random picks. Just one a little bit too. I don't know, dark, over cheesy.
He's better off as a side person coming in, doing his own thing, not so much of being part of it.
Gotcha. What about you?
Bradley Cooper. I think he would. I think he fits it. Maybe I'm hitting it too hard. I can see him as an Ocean. Based on some of his stuff, I can see him as an Ocean.
I can see him Ocean. I feel more Russ.
I think he could do either one.
Yeah. I can agree with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Jude Law.
No. If
really?
Okay. Andy Garcia's character, I see.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because I was thinking Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, and it's like the Sherlock Holmes and the whatever, and I was thinking Robert. RDJ being Danny and Jude Law being Russ. It'd be different. I can see it, but it'd be different. But Jude Law being the villain, I can see this.
Yeah. I think he does a good job. I think he looks really slick and evilish in a suit. So I think he could do this.
Very cold. He can be cold and calculated too.
Yeah.
No, I
but he
agree.
has to be jokey, and I think he can do the jokey.
Yes.
He can't. Andy Garcia does a good job of what he does with his character, but Jude Law, I like him when he's kind of like jokey with his seriousness a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. No, I agree. What about yours?
Denzel. What do you think Denzel Washington would fit this?
No.
Okay.
It's hard to say, right? Like, so I don't know why I find Denzel too serious.
That's why I want to kind of see if he could break out of that and see what he could do. He wouldn't be the top 5. I think he'd be a side person in there. Side person. He'd be one of the 11, but he'd be like, more of maybe more the tech person if they had to put him somewhere.
Yeah, maybe Andy Garcia's version.
You can see him play Benedict. Okay.
Because he right. Okay. So besides the overacting in Training Day where he just goes crazy, right? I think just cold-hearted Denzel.
What about Inside Man?
Will work.
What about Inside Man? That style, where he's not really serious until he needs to be, but he was kind of chilled. Yeah. He was making jokes.
Yeah, so Denzel's a hard one. I don't know if I would necessarily do Denzel, but if I did, it would be Terry Benedict.
Okay.
At least in my opinion. Halle Berry.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I could see her doing a test. Yes.
I think so. In a point, and sometimes in a weird way, I think too pretty.
You saying Julia Roberts is not pretty?
No, I think Julia Roberts is pretty. Well, but she has kind of like a mature pretty.
But that's the thing, though. The reason I think
go ahead.
I was gonna say the only reason is because since Tess doesn't have really a lot of scenes together. I mean, I think Halle Berry can pull that off.
Maybe too sexy would be the word.
Because she's sexy, but
here's my argument about Angelina Jolie. Because the next person I was gonna say was Angelina Jolie.
She's definitely a no for me.
A no. Why?
Jolie. Me?
Yeah. Why?
She's too much of every time I see her, it feels like she has a little too bad in her. Like it's sexy, but it feels like you always have a bad side about
to it, right?
Yeah, you always there's a catch with you. There's always a catch with you when I see you doing something.
Yeah, there's something to it.
But Halle Berry to me, I think. Do you feel like Halle Berry has that look? Like there's a catch to you.
I think there's too much sexiness. I don't know why. I
Okay.
just find her too sexy.
I
I like Julie Roberts, but Julie Roberts kind of has that has that very mature holds herself really well.
Okay, then what about Theron?
Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
Of course, I think Charlize Theron can do anything.
Just
about, right?
She's such amazing. We should do this podcast about her doing everything. I
think that's going to be one of my categories. Is like, would this movie be better with Charlize Theron?
I know, right? She just, God, she killed it for me.
But I think Charlize Theron can. I think Charlize Theron can do it. I'll throw you another one out there. Michelle Pfeiffer. Back in the 90s, 2000s. Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
I see it too.
Yes.
It's weird. I see it work.
Tom Hanks.
You know, I thought about it. This is another category I should do. Would this movie be better with Tom Hanks?
I'm gonna challenge
Vasher.
I think he could. You really?
He is Vasher.
I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back up, and I'm gonna say he could do an Ocean. I know it's daring.
Okay.
I know it's daring, but I think he could do an Ocean.
That is daring. That is. I think he can do Vasher because I think he can. I think he can just sit there and do that same logic. It's like I was like, golly, if you want to do, if we want to be in Reno, we're gonna be in Barney.
Right.
What?
You want to do one more for each of us before we wrap it up?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go with Leonardo DiCaprio. I see him as the Matt Damon character.
Yeah, I give you this because his young, youthful kind of he looks like an up and
the Catch Me If You Can at time.
Yeah, he looks like an up and coming kind of guy. Like I feel that you have to have the up and coming kind of guy. Like the reason why I never threw out like Ben Affleck or something like that because it's just like he doesn't have that look of an up and comer. He looks like a young could learn, could whatever.
Would you say Edward Norton? Would you say he'd be up and coming person too?
I think Edward Norton would play what's his name character. What's his name?
Okay.
Benedict's.
Okay.
Because he does a good job, an Italian job as Benedict.
Okay. All right.
Another random one, Olivia Munn.
No,
I think she has the look for it.
That's the Tess?
Yes, I think she has the look for it.
She's too young to look like a Tess.
Yeah, I was feared the idea that she might be too young. No, she might be. I think, but she has that kind of distinguished look to her.
She's better off in Ocean 8 to me.
If she were to do Ocean's 8.
Yeah, she.
Because I mean, you would easily. All right, sorry.
Olivia Wilde looks better as a Tess than Olivia Munn.
Okay, I can give you Olivia Wilde.
Yeah,
I'll give you Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
And I forgot to preference this. When we talked about recasting the people, we talked about not choosing anyone that was from Ocean's 8, Ocean's 12,
that's
and Ocean's
right.
13.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I forgot it because we're sitting here shooting back and forth.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want anybody. Because Bruce Willis was up for Danny Ocean as well, but it was great that Bruce Willis showed up in Ocean's 12.
Yeah,
just to play. And the idea, Sandra Bullock, I think could do Tess easily, but she's wonderful as the secondary character. So as Ocean's sister. I mean, so is and what's her? I can't think of her name all of a sudden. The one that played Catwoman.
Not Halle Berry.
No. Selena, the one that played Selena Kyle in Dark Knight Rises. No, Dark Knight Rises.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
And I think Anne Hathaway also is one of those people that I think could easily do it just because she can own the role. So we preference that we couldn't use anyone within the franchise to be in this particular movie.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
But no, I think that was pretty good. Rotten Tomatoes. Go ahead.
And there's so much we could just sit here and recast the whole thing, but we don't have that much time. So.
I think we're running a real long as it is.
So Rotten Tomato. You always do this. Let me do this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rotten Tomato. So for the people that were critics, they gave it an 82%, while the audience score gave it an 80%. Nam, as a person that watched this movie 30 going on 31, who are you going to side with?
A higher one.
By up 2%, right?
By 2%, which unfortunately, I'm surprised that it didn't get in the 90s.
I was going to ask you that. Would you give it a 90?
Yes.
Okay.
I would have. I want to lean towards critics though, just because the preference of our judgment is just based on alone what the critics versus the audience says.
With the critics too. I probably agree with you with a 90 because there's not a lot of movies you can watch back to back like that.
Yeah.
And
just watch it, and it's 2 hours long, and you don't even realize it's 2 hours long. But the thing is maybe it is an 82. But the one thing that you can say about this, or an 80, 82, the one thing that you can say about this is it's one of those movies that you can just watch consistently, just anytime. Mm-hmm. I think it's just if you're in the mood, it's just a good movie that you throw on.
Yeah. So, but with that, that's the end of our episode. So where can you find us? Well, this is part of the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows, just like the In-Game Boss podcast, this show, of course. And we have new shows that are coming in. You'll hear more in the commercials and whatnot. But remember, you can always visit our shows on YouTube, of course, Spotify, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts, and more places will be on the way. I'm looking into new places for people who can listen to. Make sure we're being heard everywhere now. Heard. And so, but remember, you can always visit our Facebook and our Twitter. Just make sure you type in the In-Game Boss program, and you'll be able to see all that stuff. Because when you come look at the network, you're going to see not only this show, but other shows. The goal is for you to, enjoy one show, but go ahead and check out the other ones. And while you're there, why don't you follow and subscribe? And leave a 5-star rating or leave a comment down below if you're listening to this on YouTube, and tell us what you like about the show. Do you not like about the show? Are you an Ocean 11 fan? Do you only like half of them? Do you like 6 of them? Should they maybe call it Ocean 6 instead because you like the first 6? I don't know. Have you seen Ocean 8? Have you seen the other Oceans? Leave a comment down below and tell us who you like. Are you a George Clooney? Do you think he should have been played by Bruce Willis? I just found that out, and I'm a no.
Yeah, that's enough.
I'm a no. And so I think it's
Doesn't
going to
work.
be called Die Hard 11 to me. Yeah. And so, but Nam, where can they find you personally?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother. No. They can find me on the Twitter, the Twitch, and Instagram at the KNTran. By all means, please, download. You don't have to listen, especially if you find my voice annoying. I apologize.
I think you have a wonderful voice.
Oh, thank you.
And you can find me as RetroAmp07 on Twitter. And any other questions you have, you can always email me at the ingameoffice@gmail.com. And we will catch you on our next film.
Deuces.
Okay, seriously, do you really like all 11 of them?
Oh, yeah.
Like every single one? You're telling me if you could cut one off and make it 10, who would you cut off?
No one. Why would I cut anyone out? They all had their purpose. I'll tell you what, though.
I cut out the computer guy. I think you can get someone else to do the computer part.
Livingston? I love Livingston.
I didn't say you didn't like him. I'm just saying if you had to cut some fat off.
I tell you what, in the 1960 version, I cut out 6 of them.